Hey guys, you're watching CarTopic, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how the Ford Ranger is better than the Toyota Tacoma. Now, today's video is mainly going to focus on the brand new Ford Ranger that came to the United States in 2019. But first, let's take a look at a brief history of how the Ford Ranger came to be. Now, the first generation of the Ford Ranger was in the year 1983. And it made anywhere from 59 to 160 horsepower depending on which engine you got it with. So the first generation actually ended in 1992, but throughout its entire production, four-wheel drive was not an option. So you had to rely on the fact that it had 107 plus pound-feet of torque to get the job done. But the second generation quickly came in 1993. And it had anywhere from 93 to 160 horsepower, again depending on which engine you got it with. But this time it had a much improved torque from 133 all the way up to 225 pound-feet of torque. And for the first time, four-wheel drive was an option, where all four wheels were getting power at all times. So the second generation was great, but it only lasted for a brief 5 years before the third generation came in 1998. This generation of the Ford Ranger is the most known and the most iconic, mainly because in 1998 it could make up to 207 horsepower and had up to 238 pound-feet of torque. It also had great entry and departure angles, so combined with the fact that you could get it with four-wheel drive, you have a great off-road car that could also do even better on the streets when it came to its towing and carrying capacity. Now, this car was unfortunately around for a little too long, and in the mid-2000s sales started to drop. So unfortunately in 2011, that's the last that we saw of the third gen Ford Ranger. But new in 2019, the Ford Ranger came back for the US market, and it makes 270 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. But how does this newcomer compare and possibly even outdoes the iconic Toyota Tacoma? Well, let's take a look at some of the specs on paper. The Tacoma has a great payload ranging from 1,100 to 1,600 pounds, but the Ranger's payload is anywhere from 1,600 to 2,100 pounds. So worst case, your Ranger can probably have a higher payload than your best case Toyota Tacoma. Now, when it comes to towing, the Tacoma is pretty impressive as it can tow up to 6,800 pounds, but that's nothing compared to the Ford Ranger's 7,500 pounds. And real quickly, for off-road purposes, let's take a look at some of its angles. The Tacoma has an impressive departure angle of 23.9 degrees. But the Ford Ranger has a departure angle of 30.9 degrees with the all-new 2021 Ranger Tremor Edition coming next year. Now, although they both have the same horsepower, the Tacoma manages to have a decent 0 to 60 of 7.3 seconds, while the Ranger has a 0 to 60 of 6.7 seconds. So, on paper, the Ford Ranger is definitely a better truck. But how do those stats on the paper convert to real-life applications? Well, the Toyota Tacoma has been essentially untouchable in the off-road and overlanding community, just because it is such a capable car at its price point. Well, with the new Ford Ranger coming in, it has been proven to be a very great off-road vehicle, and with a few modifications, you can go off-roading and live off the grid for days with a Ford Ranger. And even better is that as soon as you drive a Ford Ranger onto the road, you have a relatively smooth and quiet ride, making this truck very competitive against the Toyota Tacoma. So those stats on paper really do transfer to real-world applications. So the next time you really want a Tacoma, think again, because there might be a slightly better option out there. Now, by no means am I saying that the Toyota Tacoma is bad. It is still a great vehicle, and if I had the opportunity, I would buy one in an instant. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I really hope you learned at least a few things about why the Ford Ranger might be a better car than the Toyota Tacoma. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video, and be sure to leave a comment down below what you thought of today's video and if you have any ideas for future ones. I'll be sure to make it happen to the best of my ability. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram page if you like what we're doing here. It'll help us out a lot. But thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time on CarTopic.